Hello, we're here at the Harlem Fine Art Show, and I'm interviewing a wonderful artist that art became a personal thing for her because it's in her blood, you know, and her name is Jeanine Primm Jones. Now, Jeanine, tell us what inspired you to be an artist.
Well, actually, I went away not many years ago at all, over to Spain, and I ran out of money the last day. And I needed a gift for my sister, and I had an old picture of her in my bag and an old watercolor set. And I drew her twice, painted the one that was not the best drawing in case I messed it up, brought it home to the family. She cried, and my family went, "You're a portrait painter." And so I've been painting portraits ever since. I think a lot about the subject and who they are. I'm a realist, and I work with realist masters who, you know, paint kind of in the old school way, like the old masters. But I want to show contemporary folks and just who they are, but in the style of the old masters, but by using watercolor, which is very fluid and somewhat translucent, but to somehow use it in a textural way, if that makes any sense.
That's what amazed me about your work when I saw it. It almost looked like oil painting, you know, and it was watercolor.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, it's watercolor.
Yeah, it's less forgiving also.
So you begin to master that craft, that art form, and I really just amazed at the work you've done here.
Thank you.
Talk about your themes, the themes that you...
Well, first of all, I'm a commissioned portrait painter, so people hire me to paint what it is they want me to paint. Like the old masters, I love painting people that are going to model for hours and hours, but it's hard to find somebody that, you know, is not a professional that wants to sit for that long. I think it would take over a week to get, you know, a painting, at least a bust or above, from drawing to finish. So I paint from pictures from that people will look for, or I will look at all that they have and we'll decide together what they want, and then we decide on the size. And so I've been doing a lot of that, but then there are some things that have inspired me, like these three young men that are related and are cousins. I like to do series of cousins rather than just siblings, but showing love between young black men. You know, a dog that my sister nursed back to health in Baltimore, and just sort of show the character and how important he was to her in the painting. I've done people that I always thought were beautiful, like I think mature people, especially black women who have gray hair and who are natural. This is Johnny Marshall, who was at an art show. I adore just the way she looks, and her feel is just the feel of her. I always thought it was so strong and powerful, and I always wanted to paint her. So you know, I'll paint people that have character in their face, and I particularly like wrinkles and blemishes and pimples. I want it to look real. I'm not into it just being pretty.
Right.
You know, and likeness is very important to me. I want you to see it and go, oh, I know her.
Like
she's from Yonkers.
I know who he is.
Yes, that's my father, Dr. Primm. He's the easiest person for me to paint. I guess I know his face more than anybody else's. You know.
And the thing is, I met Jeanine through Dr. Primm, and he is an avant collector of art. I mean, he just loves art. And she was at the workshop, and she was doing her thing with the artists, helping to guide the project too. And then when she put out this portfolio of her work, I was like, Dad, it's in the blood, you know? The love that he had for art, it just poured down naturally on his daughter, Jeanine. And the body of work that I see here is just amazing. I'm just so proud of you. You know?
Thank you. So I know you met my father when we were sponsoring the Art Curian project through the Urban Resource Institute and ARTC, the Addiction Research and Treatment Corporation, and you were one of the artists that painted a huge mural.
Yes,
as a part of that program.
Was he paid for the canvas, the paint, and 40 artists made 10 feet by 5 feet paintings. Now, I've never worked that large.
I would love to.
Wigglesworth was just motivating. You can do it. You can do it. It took me 2 weeks to psychologically get there to do it. Then finally I was like, I could do it. I did it, you know? And she was just so sweet to me. And she would share her art, and I was like, wow, what a wonderful, you know, kind of relationship to be able to be an artist, work with artists, inspire artists, and the whole community. So
well, the idea is that the people that are helped by ARTC and URI, that they would be inspired by art, which we all know is therapeutic, and whether that was by actually doing art itself or by being in a space where art was shown in a way that was really inspiring, which is what that room that has the murals in has done. Whenever I'm in it, for me, that's what it's done. Out of that, you know, as I was a therapist and, you know, doing mental health assessments in one of those clinics in Brooklyn, I was working with 5 of our clients, and it was sort of a therapeutic art group, and it was at the time when we were doing the Art Curing Project, and I said today is Self-Portrait Day, and so I decided to make a collage so that they wouldn't be distracted by, you know, my painting or drawing. And when we were done, you know, I looked up, you know, to talk to them about what they'd done. They said, well, what did you do? And I just pushed it away, put it in a drawer, and pulled it out some months later and gave it to someone. And he thought, this is incredible. He made a poster out of it for me. And then people thought that that was a really neat thing. And then I started to make shirts for women, because women don't always have a shirt that speaks to them, that's fit for them, and that's casual, but also enhances their beauty, and especially for women that just kind of want to have something that looks like them on it. And wearing art's important, because if art makes you feel better, you know, then you can share it with everybody as you're walking around. And so out of that, I just started thinking about, you know, my therapeutic work and what people tell me in relationship health, the young women, what some of their concerns are, and the young men. So I decided to put out a shirt this season, not just for how it looked and felt, but also for what it said. We know that a lot of young women like to be in relationships. We all need love, and physical love is something that some of us yearn for, but we cannot necessarily have a relationship with a man who just wants to be friends but also be intimate. And so the whole friends with benefits and the whole idea of hookups now, the trend, and, you know, texting each other and not always speaking has changed the dating game. There aren't as many dates that the girls go on, if at all, and they say that they really want a boyfriend. I thought, what's going to happen later on when they don't have at least some practice in how to have a relationship? You know, at least when we were younger, the guys, they might not tell us the truth about how they felt about us, but at least we thought we might be in that. And in the morning, after we might have been intimate, we might have a chance to walk holding hands in front of other people, and that kind of thing is what the girls don't get. So I put out the shirt Benefits with Love. That just means also generally we get benefits when we're loving, but also, you know, if we have benefits with each other, if we're intimate, hopefully we are working towards love or knowing each other enough to love each other. So that has been great. The young girls have loved that. But I also put out a shirt for men, because a lot of the young men, at least in this city area in New York and also in New Haven, it's happening, and where there's a stop and frisk, I would say, I don't know if it's a brigade or a program that the police department has had, where they're stopping and frisking a lot of young Black and Latino men, and I find that their life changes so much when they are subjected to going outside and having to be violated, and having to give up their private selves, you know, particularly when they're frisked. I think for men that's violation. I think women, we're used to sometimes being violated differently, but for men it's new, and it's a power over issue, which we talk a lot about in relationship health, which is my specialty. But anyway, so I put out a shirt that has a woods background and the face on the front, and it says "No hunting" on the back. And the idea is that historically, Black folks, they don't really like to go in the woods. We were you know, taken from
slavery and all
from Africa, you know, there, so we're told, and we've seen images of it, and brought over here. And then we were trying to get out of slavery and coming up north. We were having to be in wooded areas. We were also afraid of what that meant to us. And then we were hung from trees in the woods as well. And you'll find most older black people will not want to be alone in the woods. There's not a lot of camping being done. And it makes me sad that we need to be able to enjoy the outdoors like that. But it's not just being outside there, then it's being outside in the city. And I feel like if we're afraid to be outside in the city or the country, it changes who we are. And the idea of needing to be locked up inside is something that we're familiar with when it has to also do with how many of us are locked up. So I put out that shirt for the young men.
Okay, so anyway, thank you so much for being such an inspiration.
Thank you so much for letting me share that.
Okay,
appreciate it.